The laughter was supposed to end the moment. A nervous release, a human reflex in a room designed to crush it. The diplomatic chamber aboard Helio Station was carved from obsidian alloy and cold light, a place where voices echoed longer than they should. 40 delegates from 12 species sat in ascending tiers, their forms wrapped in armor, silk, chitin, or living light. At the center stood a single human, Commander Nathan Hale of Earth Fleet, hands clasped behind his back, spine straight, pulse loud in his ears. Across from him stood the alien woman. She was taller than any human, her posture effortless, her skin a pale iridescence like moonstone under water. Bioluminescent markings traced slow, deliberate patterns along her neck and arms, shifting with her breath. Her eyes, too large, too still, were focused entirely on Nathan. The translator halo hummed softly between them. This was supposed to be a routine exchange. A symbolic gesture. Earth's admission into the coalition as a probationary member. Words carefully rehearsed, risks minimized, history nudged forward by millimeters. Nathan had followed the script perfectly. Until he hadn't. And so, he'd said, the tension squeezing his lungs, in the spirit of mutual trust, humanity offers itself, as a partner. In defense, in trade, and, he'd paused, glancing at the unreadable faces around him. In bond, should such a union ever be deemed appropriate. A few delegates had shifted. Someone, human, he thought, had let out a soft, incredulous laugh. Nathan had smiled despite himself and added, lightly, foolishly, though I doubt anyone here is in a hurry to marry us. That was when the alien woman stepped forward. I accept, she said. Her voice was calm. Perfectly translated. Unambiguous. The chamber froze. No one laughed this time. The coalition delegates went still in ways that had nothing to do with biology. Feathers flattened. Light dimmed. Mandibles locked. Even the station's ambient hum seemed to falter. Nathan felt the blood drain from his face. His mouth was dry. I'm sorry. There must be a misunderstanding. That was, not a formal. I accept the bond, she repeated, eyes never leaving him. According to your words. According to our law. The translator halo pulsed green. Legal. A low murmur rippled through the chamber like a pressure wave. The High Arbiter, a massive being of layered stone and gravity fields, rose from its seat. Silence, it commanded. The murmurs died instantly. The Arbiter's gaze shifted between Nathan and the alien woman. Representative of Earth, it said, you invoked the right of open union. Nathan swallowed. I didn't know that was a thing. It is now, the Arbiter replied. By coalition precedent, any species that offers bond as a diplomatic token may be claimed, if the claim is made without coercion and before witnesses. All eyes turned to the alien woman. State your name and standing, the Arbiter said. She inclined her head. I am Silari of the Lumineth Ascendancy. Third voice of the stellar choir. A sharp intake of breath echoed, several, actually. Nathan didn't understand why, but the fear in the room was unmistakable. The Arbiter paused. You are, royalty. Not royalty, Silari said. I am something older. Nathan's heart hammered. With respect, he said, forcing his voice steady, this can't be binding. I wasn't authorized. You were authorized, Silari interrupted softly. You spoke as your species' chosen voice. Your kind sent you to speak for them. That is enough. She stepped closer. The space between them felt charged, like the air before a storm. I have listened to humanity for many cycles, she continued. I have studied your wars, your music, your defiance. You joke in the presence of fear. You offer yourself when you have little left. You bind meaning into words and hope they will carry you forward. Her gaze softened, just slightly. You did not joke, she said. You revealed yourselves. Nathan realized, distantly, that every camera in the chamber was focused on him. Earth was watching. Or would be, once the feed reached home. What happens now? He asked. The Arbiter's voice was grave. If the bond is confirmed, Earth becomes entwined with the Lumineth ascendancy. Your enemies become theirs. Their enemies become yours. A pause. And there are many who fear the Lumineth. Nathan looked at Silari. Why? He asked quietly. Why accept? For the first time, something like vulnerability crossed her features. Because your joke was honest, she said. And because I am tired of standing alone. The confirmation ceremony took place 3 hours later, after frantic consultations, legal spirals, and a failed attempt by Earth Command to revoke Nathan's authority retroactively. Coalition law did not care. Words spoken could not be unspoken. Silari stood beside him as the rite was sealed, her presence a steady warmth at his side. When the final glyph burned itself into the chamber floor, the station's lights flared, visible across 3 orbital rings. The galaxy noticed. The consequences arrived faster than anyone predicted. Within days, hostile fleets that had skirted Earth's borders for decades withdrew. Trade routes shifted. Ancient treaties were renegotiated in whispers. The name human began appearing in places it never had before, followed always by another word. Bonded. Nathan became an ambassador overnight, a symbol he had never intended to be. He struggled with it in quiet moments, pacing observation decks, staring out at the stars that suddenly felt closer and more dangerous than ever. Silari joined him often. You regret it, she said once, watching a nebula bloom like a wound in space. I regret not understanding, Nathan replied. I don't know what I pulled humanity into. She nodded. Neither did I. That is the nature of trust. He studied her profile. You said you were tired of standing alone. The Lumineth were once many, she said. We sang across systems. We shaped light and law. But power frightens those who do not share it. One by one, we were isolated. Contained. Feared. She turned to him. You are feared too. Nathan let out a breathless laugh. We're barely holding ourselves together. Exactly, she said. You fight even when fractured. You joke even when cornered. You form bonds even when they terrify you. Weeks passed. Tensions rose. A coalition of rival species challenged the bond's legitimacy, citing ancient grievances. Fleets mobilized. The galaxy teetered. Nathan was summoned again to Helio Station, this time not as a speaker, but as a test. The challengers demanded proof. Proof that humanity was worthy of the power it had accidentally touched. They demanded a choice. Break the bond voluntarily and return to probation, or stand with the Lumineth in open defiance. Nathan stood before the assembly once more. Silari was beside him, silent, her expression unreadable. Earth Command's message echoed in his mind. We support whatever decision you make. He hated that. He looked out at the chamber. At the beings who had frozen when Silari accepted. At the galaxy that had held its breath. We didn't plan this, Nathan said. We didn't understand it. And maybe that makes us reckless. He met Silari's eyes. But we meant it. A murmur spread. Not fear this time, but uncertainty. Humanity has always survived by stepping forward when we should have stepped back, he continued. We make promises we don't fully understand, and then we spend generations trying to live up to them. He took a breath. We will not break this bond. Silence followed. Then, movement. Silari reached out and took his hand. The chamber erupted, not in noise, but in light. Lumineth glyphs ignited across the walls, responding to her presence, to the bond reaffirmed not by law, but by choice. The Arbiter bowed. So be it, it said. Let history remember this moment. Later, as alarms quieted and fleets stood down, Nathan and Silari stood alone once more, watching the stars. I was joking, he said softly. I know, she replied. And you still accepted. She smiled then, truly smiled, for the first time since he'd met her. Because sometimes, she said, the truth hides in laughter. The galaxy would argue about that moment for centuries. About the human who spoke without thinking. About the alien woman who listened anyway. But history would agree on one thing. That was the day everything changed.